Hey folks, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, let's start with the price of Bitcoin because today we saw a little bit of an uptick up to $62,000. The RSI on the daily chart is moving away from the oversold zone. The MACD on the daily chart has also flipped green, showing the bulls have momentum. However, as I've been telling you guys, we're not entirely out the woods yet, despite some bullish signals that we're seeing, the strongest being the bullish divergence on the Bitcoin weekly chart and the bearish divergence on the USDT stablecoin dominance chart. So the inverse is happening there, which is very good. These are signals we've seen at the bottom of markets. However, even if you have a bullish divergence, it doesn't mean the price can go a bit lower. So we have to be cautious here before we can 100% say the bottom is in. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball, and Bitcoin may have bottomed at 58K, or there's another flush down before we start to reverse. Now, in the meantime, there could still be a relief rally, maybe up to $70,000, then a rollover to lower lows. So these are scenarios you have to be mentally prepared for. These are things I'm looking at and monitoring closely, but I am accumulating because, as I've been telling you guys, we are in the bottom zone, regardless of if it's in or there's more to go. But I believe the majority of the downside is in, and I'm accumulating different altcoins like XRP and much more. In fact, I did an episode today with Brian from Sentiment that's going to be published tomorrow morning, and it shows XRP has the lowest MVRV between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other large cap coins. So that is a signal that, a strong relief rally may be due soon. And you could swing trade that, or you could just continue to add to your long-term whole bag. Just depends on what you want to do. But I like what I'm seeing here. We just have to give the market more time to give confirmation as to, is the bottom fully in, or is there one more flush down? And then we start a reversal into the bull market. Now, folks, we got a big update around the Clarity Act. We know this month the Clarity Act is going to make its way to the Senate floor for votes. There's still a lot of dialogue happening. And here, Eleanor Terrett is reporting the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, known as NOBLE, has endorsed the Clarity Act, becoming the first major law enforcement organization to publicly support the legislation, which includes the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. In a letter to Senate leaders, Noble says the bill contains several provisions that would provide law enforcement with meaningful new capabilities while preserving long-standing criminal enforcement authorities. Responding to concerns raised by other law enforcement groups, Noble adds that the legislation does not alter the long-standing federal criminal authorities that investigators and prosecutors rely upon every day, including statutes governing money laundering and unlicensed money transmitting businesses. So this is huge, guys. You have the endorsement of one of the law enforcement organizations. Now, recently I highlighted that another organization, I believe the sheriff's organization, they were pushing back on the bill. And I mentioned that I believe the banks are, backing that organization because you got Jamie Dimon and the banks, and many Democrats like Elizabeth Warren and Maxine Waters are trying to roadblock this bill. And they're going to pull all the strings to try to get anybody to block this bill. So to have a law enforcement agency come out and endorse the bill is amazing and very good, guys. So we want to see more of this because this will help push the bill and increase the chances for it to be passed in the Senate. And time is running out. This is it, the home stretch, because remember, Congress is going to go into the August recess. So we got to get this thing done. And once it passes the Senate, it has to go to the House to be voted on. I don't believe there's going to be any issues in the House because remember, the House passed the FIT 21, a version of the Clarity Act last year. And there's some updates, obviously, that the Senate has made, but they're not significant where, there's going to be issue. So I think it's going to make its way through the House, and then it's going to go to President Trump to be signed into law, which will be huge for the crypto market, guys. A lot of innovation will be unlocked. A lot of capital will come into the market, and it will be just in time for the next bull market to start. So this is awesome news that we've gotten here. And here, Bloomberg Intelligence thinks there is a 60% chance that the Clarity Act passes this month. A lot of debate has happened in July, but ultimately, I think we can get it through. So this is what the folks at Bloomberg are saying. Obviously, Senator Lummis and others are saying there's a good chance. There's no guarantees, of course, because we got some headwinds. And one such, as I highlighted in the last podcast, is that President Trump's disclosure of his crypto and all his finances and stock holdings, specifically cryptos, is not looking good. And the Democrats could use that against him. They've already been beating the drum on the ethics issue. Now you have all the details. He made over $1 billion in crypto with his meme coin, World Liberty Financial. And I've been saying the meme coin and some of these businesses is horrible optics. And I wish, he didn't do these things, because he's done a lot of great things for the crypto market, but then he's taking advantage of the market, right? So this is the double-edged sword of Donald Trump, unfortunately. And I'm an independent, so I'm not here to back any Republican or Democrat. I call it like it is. Many of you know that. I'm not going to kiss any politician's ass. I'm going to call it like it is. And he's been making the rounds on mainstream media, because mainstream media is covering this like crazy. Everywhere you turn, you're seeing Donald Trump rug pull his followers with meme coins and all these things. And it's just horrible, right? So it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And I hope we can put this behind us soon. I hope this is not going to be an added roadblock for us as we head later into the month for this bill to move forward. So I'm going to try to get one Democratic senator on the podcast to talk about these things and what they think about it. Obviously, there's a larger ethics issue here for elected officials. It's not just crypto, it's stocks and much more, right? And we've seen it on both sides, Republicans and Democrats. Nancy Pelosi obviously being the most famous. But what Trump is doing is not good. And again, we need to put this behind us. But nevertheless, the crypto industry is gearing up for the midterms. And here's a great example of a Democrat who's pro-crypto that won his respective election. So Democrat backed by Ripple co-founders PAC wins Colorado primary. So Manny Rutinel, if I'm saying his name right, a Democratic candidate running to represent Colorado's 8th congressional district, has won his party's primary and will head to November election after being supported by a crypto-aligned political action committee. Early on Wednesday, Rutinel reported that he would be the Democrat nominee for Colorado's 8th district, having won with 61.7% of vote against Shannon Bird's 33.6% before the primary. So the You Can Push Back Super PAC, that's the name, backed by $3.5 million from Ripple Labs co-founder Chris Larson, reportedly spent $1 million on media to support Rutinel's run. So a couple takeaways. One, it is great to see more Democrats are supporting crypto. I've been saying since the 2024 election cycle that many wanted to come out and say things, but unfortunately Elizabeth Warren had the narrative. She had the loudest voice, and she was, running the show. It wasn't Biden so much. Biden was half asleep. Many of you know that, right? But Elizabeth Warren had that high financial oversight seat, and she was running everything. She had her cronies like Gary Gensler and others. So many Democrats wanted to come out and do things, but they couldn't. And I've spoken to many Democrat folks like Ro Khanna and others in interviews, off the record conversations. So now that, that's all behind us with Gensler and Elizabeth Warren, more Democrats are coming out. And, this shouldn't be a partisan issue, guys, because this is just a technology. Unfortunately, Elizabeth Warren made it political. And now, of course, Donald Trump and the Republicans took that and used it to their advantage. And two, we continue to see that anybody who's anti-crypto, they're going to get their asses handed to them. Now, don't get me wrong, the banks are lobbying hard as well. But I think overall, there's so much resources and capital backing pro-crypto candidates for these elections that they're going to start to win. And this bodes well long-term for getting things done as far as legislation and much more. So great news. Now, folks, today, Securitize, the tokenization firm, they went public via a SPAC merger on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol SECZ. And they say it's pronounced sexy, right? So that's an interesting one. So congrats, obviously, to Carlos Domingo and the folks at Securitize. Securitize, they were the ones who helped BlackRock to launch their tokenized money market fund BlackRock actually invested in Securitize, and they've been leading the charge, guys. And I remember meeting one of the co-founders and interviewing him back in 2018 at World CryptoCon in Las Vegas. They had a little booth, right? It was back in the day when crypto was very small. These companies were, kind of starting in their garages, so to speak, right? They were in startup phase. And look at where they're at now. It's pretty amazing how far they've come. Carlos Domingo, the founder, said, "New milestone accomplished. Now a new era starts for us as a publicly traded company at the NYSE." And he says, "Thanks to all the employees, customers, partners, and investors that helped us to get here over the years, and more to come." Now, what's really great is they practice what they preach. So not only did the company go public, the stock got tokenized. The SEZ, or sexy ticker symbol, got tokenized. So you can own securitized stock on AVAX, the Avalanche blockchain, and Solana. So that's really, really great, guys. And this is the future, I believe, of how companies are going to go public, whether it be IPO or SPAC merger. They will go public on chain. Now, we're not there yet. It's going to take a long time to get there. We got to get legislation in place. The infrastructure has to be built out. We got to figure out a lot of things with the piping and infrastructure, because you don't want to have two separate markets. It all has to work seamlessly together. It has to dovetail really well. So really great to see this, and a huge milestone. Now, I'm surprised they went again public in this type of environment. I would have want to wait for a really strong environment. But I think even though crypto's down, the stock market has been ripping. So that's why we saw SpaceX, go public recently, because the stock market's just been doing really, really well, man, overall compared to crypto and precious metals. But as always, markets are cyclical. Folks, a great place where you can invest in crypto and precious metals is on iTrustCapital, and you can do it via an IRA. And some of you may say, "Tony, why the hell would I want to invest via an IRA?" Well, to answer your question, it's the tax benefits. So many of you know, if you sell your crypto for a gain, you got to pay capital gains taxes. Well, if you do it via an IRA, you sell within the IRA, you don't have to pay long-term or short-term capital gains taxes. So if you have a long-term view on crypto as well as precious metals like gold and silver, this is a great option. And in fact, you can have a dual strategy: your normal exchange activities and your long-term in an IRA, sheltered from the tax, right, guys? So you can buy and sell crypto and gold and silver 24/7. It's low cost, no monthly fees. And if you have an existing 401k or IRA, you can simply roll it over to iTrustCapital's version. And folks, they also have a great custody solution called Premium Custody Accounts. It uses Coinbase Prime, Fidelity Digital Assets. So you're getting institutional grade crypto custody. BlackRock uses Coinbase Prime. So you're getting the same custody as BlackRock, right? So this is really great. It's low fees. It's also a closed loop system. So if anyone hacks into your account, they can't withdraw funds. It can only withdraw to your bank account. So this is a great option that you can know your assets are safe and sleep at night. And folks, I have an account with them. I also have a representative who can answer any questions that you have. It's a hand-holding service. So if you want to get started and you're like, "Hey, I don't know what this is," you can email him. His name is Ryan. I have his contact information in the description with the link. And folks, if you sign up with my link, you can get $100 funding bonus. So check out iTrustCapital, see if it's for you. Go to itrustcapital.com/go/thinkingcrypto. Link will be in the description. All right, moving ahead, Robinhood rolls out public blockchain as it expands deeper into crypto. So Robinhood has been going all in on crypto, man. They're doing a lot. They obviously list crypto. They're tokenizing. They got their own blockchains going on. So really, really great. So Robinhood has officially launched a public mainnet for Robinhood Chain, making the company's biggest step yet into on-chain financial infrastructure as it looks to expand beyond brokerage services and into decentralized finance. Announced during a Wednesday event in London, Robinhood Chain is a layer 2 blockchain on Arbitrum and designed for tokenized real-world assets and decentralized finance applications. The launch comes about 4 months after Robinhood began testing the network on testnet. With the launch of the public mainnet, Robinhood's tokenized stock products are now also fully live. Stock tokens are available through Robinhood Wallet in more than 120 countries, although availability varies by jurisdiction. The company said the goal is to allow users to trade tokenized equities around the clock and use them across decentralized finance applications, including lending protocols and as trading collateral. Guys, See the infrastructure that's being built here by the biggest companies and institutions. It's amazing. Remember, the end goal is all markets running on blockchain rails. That is where we're headed to. Moving ahead, Ethereum institutional launch draws support from across the Ethereum ecosystem. So, the launch of Ethereum institutional on Wednesday was met with widespread support across the Ethereum ecosystem, with industry leaders arguing the initiative will strengthen Ethereum's position as institutional adoption accelerates. One of the endorsements came from Standard Chartered Bank, which said Ethereum Institutional addresses a long-standing communications gap between Ethereum and the world's largest financial institutions. Here's a quote. These announcements will drive the type of communication the Ethereum ecosystem has been lacking. The aim is to ensure Ethereum is well represented in institutional conversations and to make sure the broader ecosystem captures the maximum benefit from those engagements so that more institutions are brought on chain and ultimately have more of the world's tokenized assets, stablecoins, and market infrastructure on Ethereum and its ecosystem, a representative from the bank told CoinDesk in an email. So the initiative is designed to improve Ethereum's engagement with institutions through education, advocacy, and strategic communications, complementing the work of other independent organizations across the ecosystem. So this is really great. We're seeing the move to cater to institutions. They've got the capital. They've got a lot of the TradFi assets. So you need to do this. You need to help build the bridges to bring them on board. And ETH obviously gets a lot of adoption from institutions. In fact, many institutions start with Ethereum as their go-to to test the waters, and then they expand to other blockchains. So this is really great. Now, look at this. Tradeweb executes real-time tokenized US Treasury transaction on Canton network. So I'm a Canton network token holder. I've been telling you guys for a long time about this, and they continue to get a lot of adoption. So Tradeweb, an institutional electronic trading platform, has executed an on-chain transaction involving tokenized US Treasuries, with Franklin Templeton transferring a tokenized Treasury security to Virtue Financial in exchange for tokenized cash over the Canton network. Tradeweb provided execution and price discovery, while Canton Network synchronized settlement between the tokenized treasury and tokenized cash. The company said the trade settled in real time but did not disclose its size. So again, see the infrastructure that's being built here, a lot of the piloting, the testing that's happening, and the biggest institutions, Franklin Templeton, Tradeweb, and many, many more are getting involved. So a Tradeweb spokesperson told Cointelegraph the deal marked the industry's first real-time purchase and sale of a tokenized U.S. Treasury settled against USDCX, a USDC-backed stablecoin issued on Canton. Participants included Blockdaemon, Digital Asset, Societe Generale, Franklin Templeton, Tradeweb, and Virtue Financial. Incredible stuff. Now, remember earlier in the year, the DTCC mentioned they are going to use the Canton network as well. So this is one of the coins I'm accumulating at the lows, and I'm bullish on long term. And here's some more TradFi banking news. French banking giant Crédit Agricole launches EURXT Euro stablecoin. So everybody's tokenizing, launching a stablecoin, building with the technology, folks. Very bullish. So this is Europe's third largest bank by assets. And once again, they've launched the Euro Exchange Token, EURXT, a Euro-backed stablecoin issued through its asset servicing arm. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It's a very long name, and it's in French, so it's a little bit hard. But that respective asset servicing arm announced the launch on Wednesday alongside the first subscription using EURXT into a tokenized Monday money market fund. Issued on the Ethereum blockchain, EURXT is an electronic money token pegged one-to-one to the euro. So across the globe, you are seeing this technology being leveraged and what's being built for the future of the capital markets, guys. Really, really incredible. Okay, final news item. Europe's MICA rollout sparks debate over who wins under new crypto rules. So Europe's version of the Clarity Act is called the MICA regulation. And of course, they were ahead of the curve. They got it passed before the United States. And we saw just this week, the UK also got theirs out. So things are moving fast, and the United States needs to catch up. So the European Union's crypto market entered a new era on Wednesday as its marketing crypto assets regulation called MICA came into full effect, meaning crypto firms servicing customers across the 27 nation bloc are required to hold a license or stop operating. Thousands of cryptocurrency service providers face suspension and were legally obligated to stop servicing customers in the EU as of midnight June 30th, leaving millions of European users hunting for a MiCA approved platform. Executives and lawyers welcomed the single regulatory framework across the EU, but disagreed over whether MiCA creates a fair market. Some said the cost of compliance has made it impossible for smaller firms to operate in the country, forcing them to look elsewhere, including Dubai. Now, this is not something that's exclusive to crypto. This happens with other legislation for other industries, right? So we'll see how they figure it out. But look, crypto is a global asset class. So if they do things that are not fair, companies are going to find a new place and wait. If the United States gets the Clarity Act done, you could see a lot of those companies flock to the U.S. So that could be a win for the U.S., but we'll see how it all pans out. Guys, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. Be sure to check out my newsletter. It's 100% free on Substack. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. Grab a copy. It's available in paperback and digital. And if you want to expand your knowledge around crypto and blockchain tech, I have a course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto, and it features expert commentary. So no other course offers it. So you're going to hear from people who are investing, building, from founders, CEOs, institutional investors, and more. And folks, right now we got a huge bear market sale where you can get 50% off the price of the course by using the code BEAR, BEAR, at checkout. So go to mycryptocourse.com to learn more. All of the links will be in the description. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.